Hey everyone, this is Frugal Panda here with a quick ride on the Hiboy KS4 e-scooter. This was taken in mostly Lacey, Washington. I might have touched a little bit on the outskirts of Olympia, Washington too. This is the Hiboy KS4. I think I bought this for about $400 or $500. It has the honeycomb tires on it, so there's no flats on it. It goes about 19 miles an hour and it claims 350-watt motor, claims about 25 miles of range. Possibly it could do that, I'm guessing, in economy mode. I also weigh more than what it's the regular, like 165 or something. Try what they tested, a 165-pound rider. So anyway, they're on sale right now. I'll leave a link in the descriptions. I have nothing bad to say about this scooter. I took this and I took one e-bike with me up here, so there was more than enough room for me, my son, and my wife. So this was a road trip to Washington. So yeah, it did really great. It doesn't hardly weigh anything in comparison, like an e-bike and stuff. You're not going to get the exercise you would on an e-bike, but the simple thing, honestly, with the scooter is you just hop off of it. Set if you got an Apple Watch or something like that, hop off and go and walk a mile with pushing it. It doesn't take any effort, really, honestly. And then you hop back on and take off again, whatever you want to do. Um, anyway, this is Lacey, Washington. We stayed here. It's super close to Olympia, Washington. Like I said, as I was riding around, I think I touched Olympia, Washington for a minute, the outer boundaries of it. We stayed here because the Best Western where you're staying at, you might see it in the video here and there. When I started out, was centrally located, honestly, right off the highway. Um, and so we could get to Olympia really fast. Lacey itself, I believe, is a city of about 51,000 or so people. In comparison, Olympia is about 55,000. So it's a fairly large, decent sized city. I shouldn't say large, but a decent sized city. I had no complaints about it. I rode around it. Basically, we got back early. We had nothing else going on. We did what we needed to do that day, we wanted to do. And I yanked the scooter out. I was going to take the bike, but it was much easier, honestly, just to yank the scooter out and rip around and also keep myself in check so I didn't go super far, or so I thought anyway. Anyway, I just rode. It was semi bike friendly, I'd say. It had some lanes here and there, but there weren't as many lanes as I would have hoped for. So a lot of it was riding on the sidewalks. Which, look, I'm not going to complain about it. For years and years, there was hardly any bike lanes anyway. So, but here and there, you want to stay on the sidewalk. And also, when I was riding, it was around rush hour, so I kind of like being up on the sidewalk, if you know what I mean. So, being rush hour, people trying to get back from Seattle or wherever they're driving from their jobs and everything, it was good to stay actually on the sidewalk and much of the time. And also on the KS4, the Hiboy KS4, which I'm talking about right now with the 350-watt motor that peaks at 500. The top speed was 19 miles an hour and it goes about 17 miles of range. So part of this I rode in economy mode, I believe it is. And then after a while, it's just like, oh, forget it, and put it in sport mode. I had plenty of charge when I went home, and I rode all over on this scooter. And the cool thing about it is not necessarily it has regenerative brakes, which I'm sure put bare minimum, maybe a mile or so, it might give you an extra range. But what's cool about an e-scooter like this little lightweight one that weighs 30 some pounds, is when I got to a hill, I can decide to ride up it, or honestly, hop off of it and get a little exercise and walk up the hill with the scooter. And that's what I did a lot of times. And it saves on energy too. And it's good for you. So anyway, getting back to Lacey. Lacey was a cool little city. There's not much to it, to be honest with you. It's kind of suburban area of Olympia. It's centrally located in between. You got Olympia, then you got Tacoma, then you got Seattle. So people that don't want the huge city, but want to be like Seattle, but want to be near a huge city, then Lacey's a pretty good place for that. So you can go to the city, Seattle, hang out and do Seattle things, and then come back to a smaller city of like 50 some thousand. It was busy at this time, as you can see by the traffic here and there. But that was more so had to do with, like I said, it was rush hour. And I can't remember if this is the day, the reason you're seeing me so early, or it's in the evening. Also in Washington State, honestly, this is July. It wasn't getting dark until after 9 p.m. So it might have been 7, 8 p.m. outside actually with that sun up like that still. So it seems like it's probably like noon or like something like that, or maybe 2 or 3. No, it's more like probably at 7 or 8 p.m. And anyway, I can't remember if this was the day that we there was traffic. We were trying to get to Seattle and go to Alki Beach, and literally we sat in traffic for 2 hours and had to do a turnaround, and we had to go somewhere else because the traffic was so bad. Because someone hit and ran, and honestly, they hit a motorcyclist, and it was a fatality. And then they took off, so they shut down the entire highway, so it was backed up everywhere. This might have been the day. So we went somewhere else and did some things, but we were also kind of tired of being in the car. Anyway, I went through a little neighborhood too. People were super friendly or waved at me and stuff like that. It's like cool. The thing about Washington State is that it's always it's super green in this area, this west side of Washington State. So with that being said, even a junky neighborhood, I'm not saying the neighborhood I was riding through was junky, but even a junky neighborhood can throw you off because it's green and lush and got huge trees and all that stuff. Versus, say you're in Phoenix or you're in the high desert or something, right away when you're in a junky neighborhood, there's just a lot of things to it that tells you. If they had grass, or you're in Colorado too, in Denver, if you're in a junkier neighborhood, the grass is dead and everything like that. But here, you can be thrown off a lot of times because it's just really green. Like I said, the area, oh, and the weather was great. It was 80 some degrees. It's actually really hot out there. But at this point, it was like 80s, something like that. I rode around. I just was ripping and zipping. I was curious about Lacey, and it was a great ride around. I don't have any complaints about this area that we stay, to be honest with you. This I was with my family. Now, if it was me by myself, more than likely I might have spent a day in Olympia, and then I would have moved on to Tacoma, Seattle, and got a place outside of those two cities so I could go hang out in them and do different things. That's how I travel single, but I'm also cheaper too. When it's just me, it'd be a Motel 6 or something. And usually when I pick one of those, I'm picking it not in a major city because they're junkier in a major city, but outside of that city, like a small town or small city outside of it, or one where there can't be too much transportation, like public transportation around there, and like apartments and stuff. That's usually when you start running into a lot of problems with those Motel 6s and Quality Inns. With that being said, homeless population, I saw a few homeless people, but what I noticed in Lacey, somewhere over by the Best Western where I was located, I'm guessing a low income housing or some type of mental health, behavioral health facility, like outpatient or something like that, or a nonprofit, because there was a lot of people that looked honestly like meth heads and fentanyl addicts. Not a lot, but there was some on this area where they were walking over by, I believe it was a someone can tell me what it is. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like Taco Time, I think is the name of it. It's like a franchise out here. I'd see people walk in. They were clearly mental health or drugs or both, a combo of both. What came before, first, who knows? The horse or the cart. You never know with it. No one was begging from me, but they were over across the street and stuff. They weren't bothering anybody and stuff, but clearly they were on something. I'm guessing there's some low income housing, to be honest with you, on the other side of the street of the road. With that being said, I didn't see a lot of homeless people around here in comparison to what you saw in Olympia, which is, to be honest with you, it's really sad in a way. No, it isn't in a way. It is sad that they don't have enough mental health beds in these states, including Colorado, that we have so many. Um, you can decriminalize drugs all you want, but it really affects these communities if you don't have enough mental health beds and you don't have enough services to provide these people with things that they need. And honestly, and also making people feel really comfortable that are homeless, that come from out of state, that suck up your services and stuff like that, not even from your state. We're seeing it, a lot of it in Colorado. And by the way, I work in human services field, so I do know what I'm talking about in regards to the homeless population. A lot of people we serve at two of the organizations I work for, they're not even Coloradans. They came from the South, and most of them come from the South and stuff like that up here because the South won't offer those benefits. They're like, no, you need to work, you need to do this, or you're not welcome in our state. You can't be here just doing drugs and laying up. And they come out here and they think they're gonna get all this free stuff because they hear word of mouth. But in Colorado, you find out real quickly you're not gonna make it, and a lot of them end up taking off back to where they're from. Regardless, that's beyond the point. The thing was, I didn't see a ton of them in the area I was in like that. I saw one person with a broke down RV. I'm guessing parked there in a parking lot. But as you can see, the neighborhoods were nice. I like the little neighborhoods. I liked riding around Lacey. Would I live there myself? No. And it's not a knock on the city or nothing like that. It's just too far away from what I wanted to do. I realize on paper it looks like you can Olympia to Tacoma, Seattle's a quick drive. In reality, it was not. So it'd be more about distance than anything else. Anyway, this is Frugal Panda. Everyone, thanks for watching. This was the Hiboy KS4, and no issues with range or anything like that. I'll leave a link in the description. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.